All right, we are back after a nice, refreshing break. I have some tea. I was able to collect myself. As a DM, I was very unprofessional in laughing at the antics of my players and just whatever at the role playing. How dare they in a role playing game? And so now we zoom back across Mesotopia to our group in Aslandia, somewhere in the desert of Aslandia, when they were slowly descending on an airship in order to have an aberration that's inside them, question mark, removed in the form of whatever that little mark was that was making a little wiggle in their necks when the magic user, that is sort of the right or left hand of this Commander Lily, was, doing some stuff, and they got a little wiggle, and it could be this, and I guess we're going to find out with a little bit of healthy exploratory surgery in the middle of a desert. So the three of you, you took your place on the airship, and it slowly wound down and settled in a relatively flat place, and a tent was brought out in a little, I won't call it a facility. It's not like there's, IV pumps or anything, but
This is a mash.
yeah, there we go. So you have kind of like a gurney, you have a tent. Things are as field ready as they can be. Which, if it is a mash, right? This is a military unit, and so it's not bad. It's nothing about these people seem like they've fallen into disrepair or that they've been really scrapping for anything. The uniforms have definitely shown some little wear and tear, some sun bleaching. The ships aren't smoking wreckage heaps that you don't know how they fly, but the sand is coursed against them, kind of giving a shine in some places to the metal, kind of burnish the wood. So they've probably been out here for at least a little bit, but they still seem to be doing pretty well. So yes, they have this tent that is set up, and let's see. Since this conversation pretty well took place in the morning, Mordecai, they're not operating on you. You can stay in your uniform, but they are going to ask. They are going to be asking Seltur to disrobe.
They just can't get enough of me, can they? All right.
And the doctor is going to ask you, because he is not too aware how reflexive your special gift is, if you would be willing to wear this muzzle again. He doesn't want you vomiting acid in the middle of a surgery.
That's gonna be a hard no. I want to. You end up doing that, and I can imagine that ended up a lot worse. Have you ever operated on one of the dragon's descendants before?
I remember the doctor, or no, I'm sorry, it was the caster that was speaking. The doctor was accented. I have not operated on a wive member of your tribe or your species. However, I have seen plenty of books that show the biology of your kind, and I have seen a corpse of one of your kind as well. I believe the color was blue.
Ah. So, allow me to explain something to you, Doctor. When placed in this kind of vulnerable position, the more restrictive it gets, the more prone to panic the patient tends to end up being. And I have seen more than my fair share of orcs roasted, burned, electrocuted, flayed, and dissolved in the same attempt.
Yes.
So, the irony in this is that that same muzzle that you are asking to place will in fact be doing the exact opposite of its intention.
Then I would need you to be quite unconscious, as I would hate for any accidents to occur while we're performing this surgery.
I have the ability to calm emotions. If she gets spooked,
Well,
first sign that she's getting spooked, I'm gonna cast it.
He looks over to Commander Lily, who's just been standing and watching this whole time. And Lily looks contemplative. Seltur, she locks eyes with you again. And she gives a little bit of a lip lick. I mean, whatever. You're in the desert. Maybe it's a little dry or something. But she gives a little bit of a lip lick. No, Doctor. I believe that you can guide Selene through the surgery. Well, she did... I'm sorry, she has the accent. Through the surgery. I believe that Selene did say that she can accomplish this in a hasty manner. And if you were to stand outside of any sort of splash zone, then perhaps it would only be Selene that would succumb to the effects of the weefwex of Seltur. And the doctor looks at you, Seltur, looks at Selene, looks at the commander, ponders for a moment, and gives that sort of a look. Commander Willie, I believe that you are correct.
But of course, a good doctor, in order to take notes, is going to need to stay within said splash zone in order to end up truly observing and understanding what is being done. And after all, you are a individual of SWAT science. I do apologize, it's very difficult without the lips.
Indeed. You know, you and the commander both have this this speech sometimes is just difficult to get one's lips and vowels and consonants around. I actually very much appreciate the irony that we do have a dragonborn like this, and that you are kind of playing up that it's more about the tongue and whatnot, and then we have someone with this unique accent. So,
darling. Now, that being said, get on this gurney. All right, now this is going to hurt a lot, isn't it? She,
Almost likely.
Oh, I look forward to this. Don't be nice to me now, here, Muffin Top. This is your first chance of payback. Make it count.
As Seltur's laying in the gurney, Mordecai, you will be, you and Commander Lily will be in the tent together. There are, sundry people who are there. When I say people, like guards, who are watching and making sure there's no shenanigans. Selene, the doctor, is going to need a little bit of time to pull you aside.
She would like, yes.
At first, this is just going to be an exchange of medical information, as he tries to gauge your, he's bringing up some questions. Go ahead and make a medicine at advantage to see just how. Ooh, nice, 24. Okay. So. And he says the leg bone's connected to the, and then you say the thigh bone, and he says, the thigh bone's connected to the, and you say the red thing, and he says the red thing's connected to my, and you say my wristwatch, and then both of you say damn, and
oh boy.
So no, you go back and forth. He's testing you, in a very, look, you didn't become a discredited sage unless you were a sage first. And so, you are getting the feeling this doctor definitely knows his trade, and you are also stepping up and presenting yourself as knowledgeable about anatomy in that. Although he tells you that, he's not sure how aware of dragon or of dragonborn anatomy you are. If you need, because this was all like general medical stuff, you know, if the patient bleeds, what do you do, and standard practices, and Selene through this as well. I'm sorry to take I keep taking little side alleys here. The medicine that you two practice is pretty close, and if you know. In the meta, because I was describing it as such, I don't know if Selene is necessarily aware of the emotion between Seltur and the commander. But just as the commander has some kind of respect or grudging respect or acknowledgement or awareness or whatever of Seltur, this doctor is also giving you that kind of evaluating gaze, kind of as a not as an enemy or someone to be distrusted, but he holds you as maybe an honored rival of sorts, as you were able to answer questions and you want to step up here. And he does also lean in and he says, Selene, I'm sorry, Selene. I hope that you understand that given the proximity of the surgery and perhaps other factors, you could accidentally pierce Seltur's acid glands, or perhaps she could have a reflex and you will require medical attention yourself.
Don't worry about me. I have things that I can do to deal with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, honey.
Seltur's like over the gurney, like, come on!
She gets covered in acid.
Yeah. Don't worry about me. I don't.
No problem.
Oh, that's great. But it's like, don't worry about me. I don't. That's funny. Okay. Looks like it's alright. Miss the acid glands, miss the jugular, and it'll be all good.
He as he has you to the side, and you're talking about this as well, I couldn't help but think about some of the things that, and as a DM, if I got this wrong, let me know, but some of the things that you said, and that you are a follower of the Weighty of Death, yes?
Yes.
Well, then, as a professional courtesy amongst doctors, I should also be glad to inform you. And he leans in like he's gonna tell you something, and he pulls his coat to the side a little bit, and you see a brand, a tattoo or something. It looks like the top of a Ouija symbol that is carved into onto his chest, like just below his collarbone. And he leans back up, fixes his coat properly. I can appreciate perhaps some of the aspects of the gift and the art that you are able to bring as not just a healer, but as an usher.
It's like, good to hear.
Perhaps our faiths have split over the distance and over the time, but I think fundamentally we can find more common ground than not.
Well, let us hope so. Now, we should begin this procedure. Would rather not like to keep Seltur waiting, because I know for a fact I'm going to get a snarky comment as soon as I walk in there.
We shall see what happens. The commander seems to have quite a lot of faith in The three of you. Or perhaps us, as her staff. Or perhaps both. It's difficult to tell. But what will happen will happen. I certainly hope that there will be no surprises, however.
Oh, there shouldn't be. Now, shall we begin?
He is going to offer you a... Shadahar, like a doctor's coat, effectively.
Yep, and she'll slide the doctor's coat on.
Okay. You look excellent in black. It's very slimming. Sorry, there's no pixies out here to make fun of you, so... it's just a dragonborn. So in your you have this coat on, and they're not crude. You have a surgeon's set that is brought out, and it's placed behind you. And you went through. Some of the shapes are a little bit different, but look, tweezers are tweezers, and scalpel's a scalpel. You hold it, you kind of find the balance. You get you're getting a feel for the implements here. The commander steps forward to you, Mordecai, as this is going, and she tells you, Mordecai, as much as I can appreciate the strength of Seltur, I'm a little concerned that she is refusing to be bound by her mouth or even to the gurney. Perhaps you might be able to talk to her and suggest a course of drugs to put her out? Or do you have a particular magic that you would wish to cast, as you said? I want to see how you would step up and handle this situation of a patient who thinks that she can get through a surgery and could very well reduce her friend to a sizzling pile of goo if something goes wrong.
That's why I will be remaining by Selene's side.
I am sorry, but I cannot have you do that.
And why not?
Because your place is at my side right now, Mordecai, and I do not want any accidents to threaten you.
I trust that Seltur will be able to keep a lid on her emotions.
And unfortunately, I do not. And as I'm the commander here, your opinion is noted, but is not valid. She's looking at you, Mordecai.
As I said, I can calm her emotions if she gets spooked. I can heal a wound if one becomes too dangerous to the patient. I have no means of suggesting a course of action for her. She is her own woman.
This is me as the DM contemplating your words, not the commander. I mean, the commander's probably contemplating too, but she didn't say the Mordecai, make a persuasion at disadvantage. And let's see what happens as you're trying to counter challenge the commander here.
Come on, big money.
Nice. So either a 21 or a 25, and at disadvantage. A 21 is still a heck of a good roll.
I have quick reflexes. This is why I'm suggesting to remain by Selene's side.
I don't believe it's just for the reflexes, Mordecai. However, perhaps with you by her side, that could help the situation some. Very well. Show me what you got, Mordecai. You look so wonderful in that uniform, and I believe that you have great potential. Anyway.
I'm sure.
So let me see you use it. Let me watch and gauge who you are and what you do, and the others. I will warn you, and she raises her voice to really... She's talking to Mordecai, but her voice is passing over Mordecai to Selene and Seltur. I will warn you that should anything that makes me upset occur, that I can have very bad reflexes as well. And
I don't doubt it.
I am allowing this because this is something that I want to see, and that this is something that I want to experience.
He just gives a slight bow to the commander and gets ready to stand next to Selene.
She gazes up, and the other airship is kind of in a slow, like a humming patrol overhead. There's anyone who's, who's a part of this sort of like medical detachment. There's a couple people from the main body of marchers, and there's some of the crew of the other ship that has landed. Apparently the command ship or Lily's ship or whatever. The friend ship, because she has been friendly with you all. And so you see some people on the deck there. You see the other one is flying around, and there are ground troops. They're not all around you, sort of like the circle on the playground in in elementary school, and there's a fight. Like, hey, everyone, gather around. People are doing their own thing. Some of them are working on sharpening their swords, just doing whatever. It's also noon, so they have some tents up, and some people are trying to just stay out of the heat because a camp has been called. And so this is the scene, and I'm being cautious because, whatever you all have planned, I don't know. But playing a military commander who has the attitude that I've presented, I want to make sure that I'm also giving you a feeling for the environment in which this very interesting surgery is going to take place. So are there any questions that you all have that before the knife is put to Seltur's neck here?
How many sharp implements are going to be involved in the surgery?
Sharp implements, at least one, in order to open you up. Well, I don't know if you want to count the needle to sew you back up. I guess that would be two. But there's a couple other tools, like something that would be like tweezers to remove, or like almost like tongs to hold your wound open if it's necessary. And then there's all manner of like gauzes and things like that.
Let the procedure commence. Seltur just kind of lays down and tries to focus at the top of the tent. She is clenching jaw at this point and just ready to get sliced into, hanging on to the edges of the gurney. Occasionally her eyes drift to Selene in this, if you're gonna kill me now, you better make it good. This is the only chance you're going to get.
This is like, I'm not going to kill you, Seltur.
She seems almost disappointed.
So we have our operating theater. You have quite the audience here that's watching this. Selene, you reach over, and sure enough, there is a Shadahar style medical scalpel that is in your hand. Mordecai is by your side, and Seltur is conscious, undrugged, and unbound.
Yep.
On this gurney in a tent in the middle of the desert.
Well, it's like Selene's gonna reckon Mordecai, or just like, I'm gonna get you to pass me things.
Sure.
Okay, Mordecai, scalpel,
He hands it to her.
and she'll take the scalpel and begin the incision.
All right. So,
I'm gonna give her
Seltur
bardic
is.
inspiration.
What's that?
I'm gonna give
I'm
Selene
gonna get the bardic inspiration.
I know you can do this.
Seltur, make a Constitution saving throw to resist the sudden twinge.
Oh no!
Okay.
I would have had all my emotions ready.
So that that's a 1. But you do get a +2 to that, so that's a 3. Derek, you have amazing ones.
The acid gland is now the first thing to get punctured. Congratulations on that.
All right, so Seltur, you are making your incision, and is your acid breath a dex or a con?
Well, Noble's Kiss, that's a dex.
Okay.
Make it a dex save.
All right. So yeah, Selene, you make the incision, and as you're doing so, I mean, the incision is perfectly medical, and you're going in, and this could very well be she was born with her acid gland on the other side, or something that you didn't know. Heck, even something maybe she didn't even know. I mean, because look, before we had the medical science to determine it, where are the kidneys? I mean, obviously we've known for a while, but if you get what I'm saying, I don't know how many Dragonborns you've cut open in your days.
1 or 2.
And so, as you're doing this, you you rupture her acid gland, and acid starts like leaking out the side of her, like it spurts, and you're gonna have to make a dex save.
That is a save.
Okay.
So take half. I'll take half.
Yep. So you'll take 5 acid damage, and it's a line. Okay. So Mordecai, as you were standing there. Oh, a line kind of intersects. Mordecai, make a dex save also.
All right.
DC 13. You can do this.
Oh, jeez. You just sort of like Matrix, like bullet time dodge the acid spray at the side of Seltur's neck here.
19.
So yeah, you get it. You're still gonna take 5 acid damage. But so this her acid sprays out the side of her neck here, and each of you kind of like, ooh, you duck out of the way, and it splits the difference between you two, but you do take a little bit of spray. And a couple of the guards are like, whoa, hey, huh! And the commander just quietly holds her hand out, issues no command, but she watches as this happens. And Seltur, with the Constitution save here, make 1 more to see if you're gonna pass out from this.
Okay.
Oh, guidance it. She can't guidance it. Don't have guidance.
Yeah, you can't.
Wait. Oh, actually, there is a thing I can do. That I do have, that I can do. Give me a second to just grab it up. Damn computer. Give me a second. I need to pull it up, but my computer's being a rather large pain in my butt.
But all right.
What I can do... Oh, actually, I can't do that because I don't have the material for... Damn it, never mind.
Okay. So 14 or a 14, your choice. Seltur, you're on the precipice from fainting. You are still conscious, but if you've been, I mean, I'll draw on my own experience. Maybe y'all have had something similar. Like if you've ever done something like donate blood and things start hearing kind of like far out and kind of tinny, or you start getting some tunnel vision.
My personal favorite is when the legs start shaking for absolutely no reason.
Oh. Oh, and the cold sweat too. Well, I don't think you sweat, but so what?
No, you don't. But the blood loss will actually start triggering it. And so I'm kind of curious. On the other hand, the plus side, the wound is officially cauterized.
Well, your acid is your acid is also kind of like making some of the sand hiss and spittle and everything. All right, so Seltur, you are in this kind of you're in this. I don't know what the D&D condition would be like. I don't think dazed, maybe. Anyway,
we call this agony.
But medically, like, what's that?
We call this agony.
Agony. Sure, you are in the state of agony. That is its own unique rider in 5th ed here. So yeah, your senses are kind of like tuning in and out. You just had this rupture, like your throat sac or whatever has been spilled. And so there's a lot of acid around. It's Selene that's making the area rather difficult to perform. So this will affect perhaps your continued surgical attempts in this regard. How would you like to proceed then as the doctor? Because you did make an incision and there was this depressurization of her breath weapon through the side of her neck.
Yep. Give me a second. I need to very quickly look up something. And then I will tell you.
Okay.
And then I will tell you on how I will proceed.
Mordecai, what are you doing as you see Seltur kind of like in and out, like either focusing or if she's got the leg twitch or, you could, she presumably is conscious enough you could talk to her if you wanted. You could, I don't know, you tell me what you want to do here.
I'm just doing what I can, I guess, to get her to focus and maybe keep calm. I could cast calm emotions now. It only lasts a minute, but
that's up to you. You tell me what you're doing here.
I think that is what I'm gonna do. Is I am gonna cast calm emotions on her.
Okay.
So that she's calm.
You attempt to suppress strong emotions in a group of people. Each humanoid in a 20-foot radius sphere centered on a point you choose must make a charisma saving throw. Are you just dropping this here in the middle and trying to catch other people, or do you want to try and place this in a way that or somehow just try and catch Seltur in it here, because this is a 20-foot radius sphere off of you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. If anybody else gets caught in it, then that's fine. But I'm focusing on Seltur.
Okay. Then.
And now pride kicks in.
Ooh.
Oof.
Look at that.
She resists.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Right.
you a 19 charisma save on there. You're not choosing to fail, so you make the save, and with your strength, you're trying to get through this. You definitely have this burning pain That's not. I mean, acid is one thing. You're familiar with that, but this is, because your flesh is opened up, and yet you try and get this wave of calmness over you, but you fight against that and you conquer it, Seltur.
Okay. I do have a thing. All right. I'm going to turn to the doctor and tell him to get me some lye.
Okay, real quick. Are you choosing to fail the saving throw because you're going to be caught in this, Selene? Or do you want to try and make it?
I'll attempt the correct one. I'm not really rattled. I'm most definitely not rattled.
Mordecai just stepping up. Everyone calm down. And everyone looks at Mordecai. We are. What? You're the one yelling. You're making a scene, sir. And I will roll for the doctor / roll 1d20. The doctor will.
Doctor is very calm.
Yes, the doctor will become calm. What is the effect that you are broadcasting? Since you get options, what was it you were casting on the spell?
I was going for
indifference, or
indifference, I guess.
Okay. Well, if it was
with Seltur, I was particularly targeting like fear and panic.
Okay.
So I think that would be the whole thing, the whole radius. Fear and panic is just suppressed for everyone.
Yeah, so no one can be charmed or
okay.
If they fail.
All right, so no charmed or frightened. So it's the doctor just kind of just adjusts himself, kind of clears a little bit of sand out of his throat here.
It's like, doctor, lie.
I'm a professional. I don't fib.
I mean the compound lie.
Oh, you mean why?
Yes, why?
That's what I said. I said why.
Yeah.
We'll avoid the little comedy bit. This is more serious. So,
Selene internally murmuring to herself how she hates Northern Common.
I will not fetch this for you, but he raises his hand and another person runs over. He tells him to go fetch something, and a person starts trudging back to the ship to fetch something, presumably why. And so Seltur is kind of in this half-conscious agony, ? Are you waiting for the substance to be delivered, or are you going to continue in some way?
I am gonna, very, very gently tilt her head just slightly to let a bit of the acid run off onto the gurney.
Okay.
Just so there's no acid settling in the wound, because that would be bad.
Okay.
And once I've gotten out as much as I can see, I'll tilt her head back so it's back in the workable position. And I'm sure by the time I do that, because it's going to be a very slow, very delicate thing, that the person should have returned with the why.
Make a straight up medicine check for this part of the procedure then.
Medicine? Yep.
So you can 21 or 22. So we're going to go for the 21 because it was a straight up. All right. So very professionally, you're able to turn the neck unless, Seltur, I presume you're not going to fight Selene's hands on you trying to position your head and your neck, or are you?
Selene would be... Selene would just also be describing to Seltur what she's actually doing. So Seltur's like, hey, why are you touching me?
I just want to see if she's... Derek, you there?
Yep.
Okay. Is with Selene describing, I'm gonna turn your neck and we're gonna spill the acid. Are you going with that, or are you gonna fight it?
She's gonna go with it. It's more of a case of. Let me slide into Seltur for a second.
Okay.
Honey, the thing you have to understand is that this is not about the surgery. This is a moment of pride. You see, right now, me and Selene are doing battle on her home turf. She, if in this operating room, such as it is trying to end up performing a delicate procedure. Myself, I have my pride, and what they want to do is bind me like some kind of animal. They want to hold me down. They want me. They want to force me into positions. I have chosen to be on this table, and I have chosen to be conscious through the whole of the endeavor. This is by my own design, by my own will. And now, Selene is trying to end up carving me up much like you would an orc or a fresh gnome. So now, it comes down to this. Do I pass up from the pain? Do I flinch and bite her hand? Or do I show the degree of control, grace, and infallible will that shows that indeed when I say I am her better, that I have demonstrated it thoroughly? This is a battle of wills, not wits. And if she kills me on this gurney, well, it'll be my final triumph.
Selene, your patient is rather lucid and, despite a little bit of a gurgling neck wound here, has given you what she's given you. Seltur, you can see as you're kind of in and out of things, and I mean you're saying this much. Commander Lily is standing at such an angle that she is very visible to you, and her eyes are like she has this unblinking stare as she's staring at you, like she's examining you, she's watching you. Judging, I don't know, maybe, probably, mostly. But she is in such a way that she's watching in fascination at what is occurring in this tent. So a little bit of time passes. Seltur tells you this, Selene, and someone comes back with a small strong box and opens it up, and the doctor tells you, this should be able to counteract the acid.
It's like, thank you. She'll pull out the little thing. It's like, Seltur, this is probably going to burn, but it's going to neutralize the acid, and she'll put a little bit in there, just enough to neutralize the acid that is left in the wound. And it will turn the acid and the lye together to water, which then Selene can just remove and be done with.
Seltur, for a moment, the side of your neck becomes a high school volcano project, and little bit of chemical reaction, some bubbly fizzy, a little bit of foam, and the acid has been counteracted, and Selene is cleaning the incision on the side of your neck now.
It's like, all right. Now that that's out of the way, Mordecai, tongs.
I hand them to her.
Okay.
Mordecai, clamps.
Continue.
Nurse Mordecai here. All right.
All right, and then Selene is going to open the wound a little further with the clamps, and then see if she can't get a look at the little squirmy thing in there, if there is one.
Okay. So as the wound is opened, Seltur, go ahead and make a. What's that?
Sorry, I cast dancing lights and put a light over it so that she can see it really good.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't have operating theater lights.
Seltur, go ahead and make another Constitution save as the neck, as the hole in your neck is widened.
I'm out.
And with well, I'm not going to put a scream in your mouth as you've presented yourself in the way that you have, but so with a it's not a 1, but as the hole is widened, there is just this blinding, you're looking through this kind of gauzy tent, and the sky itself, with the desert sun in the wind, it's like the sky rushes up to meet you as you just get this kind of blinding agony that is coursing through you. It's radiating from your neck. And Selene, she kind of does what she's gonna do. It could be screaming, it could be shuddering. She could just open her eyes and then faint. That it's whatever you want to project for Seltur. But you are going to end up unconscious for X amount of time. I don't know how long. When I fainted, when I gave blood a while ago, it felt like, I felt like I slept. Like I woke up and I'm just sort of like, whoa, what happened? Because I was dumb and I tried to be prideful in that, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. Just go ahead and take it, and and look where it got me. Yeah. They're like, hey, you want to sit back? Which arm do you want or whatever? I'm like, just do it. Anyway, dancing light is put over her wound as she is relaxing in some way on the table, and you're seeing inside of Seltur here. And go ahead and make a perception check to look inside of your patient.
21.
A 21. You lean in close, and there's muscle and sinew, and there's some blood from the wound. You haven't nicked something that's pumping out or gushing, but obviously you get a cut and you're gonna bleed.
Okay. Got some capillaries, but no. Got some capillaries, maybe a vein, but no arteries.
And you see perhaps some kind of maybe like a cyst or something that's not necessarily below the skin, but is incorporated. It's like it's in the skin. It's there's just like some kind of there's like some sort of a small sac that is in the area where this mark on the neck is.
Hello. That is most interesting. So it's incorporated into skin, right?
Yes.
So am I able to cut out that piece of skin?
Presumably. She has skin to cut. You have tools to cut.
That is what I'm gonna do. I am gonna cut it out, and I'll look for anything else.
Okay. I would like you to make a medicine at disadvantage, as this is very close to some vital parts of the neck, blood vessels, and other nerves going up and down her body. This and given the circumstances, this is kind of an impromptu surgery.
Yep. Is it a D8?
Yep.
Then I'm gonna be using it.
So you got a 12.
I got a 13.
Plus a 1.
Oof.
Okay. You go to make the cut, and your hand it wobbles. Maybe a little bit of wind pushed it, or a reflection, some nervousness. Maybe there's a little bit of fumes from the acid still kind of stinging in your eyes. And as you go to make the cut, your hand slips a little bit, and you cut into something, like you're cutting into the cyst, but so too, something vital. That there seems to be more blood that's coming out of this nick that you made. And
Casting cure wounds.
Go ahead and make a perception real quick, because as a nurse, like he'll need to tell you to do it, since you're not the one looking into the neck, Mordecai, or knowing that there's anything amiss just yet.
Well, I was gonna make a perception anyway to see if there was anything else in there, but you can make the check. Yeah, perception check.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
All right. So for Selene, you know that you cut something that is seemingly important. Your patient is bleeding more than she should, and right before you're gonna ask Nurse Mordecai in order to back you up here and to seal up the wound. I mean, maybe you go back later, I don't know, but certainly, like, she needs stabilized right now. For the briefest of moments, from the incision that you made in this skin sac, you swear that there was an eye and teeth surrounding the eye before it kind of just, like, you're looking in the neck wound, you're looking, and suddenly just sort of bursting forth. I mean, someone made kind of like an Aliens reference, not quite like a face hugger, but kind of like one. Just this thing kind of like emerges from the sack, makes a screeching sound. It's not too huge. I mean, we're talking something maybe the size of a golf ball, maybe a little bit larger, and then sort of pulls itself back in. But Seltur is bleeding out of her neck.
I cast cure wounds.
Yeah, I'll point Mordecai to where he needs to cast it and cast it.
Okay, Mordecai, Nurse Mordecai steps up, casts your spell, and ooh, I don't think you've had the pleasure yet of catching a taste of Seltur. But before that, real quick, Mordecai, I would like a Constitution save from you as well, as you are seeing a lot of blood pouring out of Seltur, and you're intently staring at this open wound.
Good rolls. Decent enough roll.
A 14 on your save. Mordecai, for a moment, you zone out partially. Selene's like, close the wound. Mordecai, close, and you blink at it, because you just caught yourself, like, kind of poking the end of your tongue on a fang as you're seeing Seltur's blood just kind of seep out of the side of her neck, and suddenly Selene's voice oh yeah, and so you cast your cure wounds, and the wound does close up again, and she's stable.
It's like, okay, let's try this one more time. And she's just gonna attempt to cut just the entire patch of skin with the cyst in it out. Because it's incorporated into the skin, so I should be able to just cut that patch of skin out and then heal over the top to regenerate some new stuff.
Well, a wound like this isn't necessarily, I mean, because cure wounds it's a restoration of hit points, which, for some scratches and bruises. But, I mean, if you break your leg, a cure wounds isn't going to set your bones. Or if you lose a finger, a cure wounds isn't going to do that. So removing something like that is going to be something that is, you could slap patch it with a cure, and it'll just sort of be this, like, divot of flesh that's missing. She won't die or bleed out per se, but you'd be leaving a very prodigious a very prodigious scar, or just sort of a chunk of flesh missing, which is next to her. I was going to say venom sac, but we're in a desert. I keep thinking like a scorpion.
Acid sac, yeah. Well,
So
I mean that might need to be how it is until I can pump in some stronger healing magic to better cure it.
Then let's do this then, as it's I have 4:30.
Yep.
The doctor and the commander will step forward, and we'll say that's enough for today.
It's like,
It sounds like you need more of a plan, and this was more of a complicated procedure than.
It's like we actually cannot stop now. There is an eye with teeth in there. It needs to be removed now. We can't leave it.
The commander begins to speak, and the doctor actually puts his hand out and looks at you and looks at the commander. And the commander looks absolutely insulted that the doctor would step up and do this. And the doctor says, Selene may be correct. I don't know if it is truly proper to do things this way. Selene, I would not perform such a surgery myself under these conditions. This would be... well, this is something that I cannot also command or take part in, as I would have a moral objection to something like this. If it hasn't killed her or you, as presumably you have the same thing within you already, it won't continue to do so. But look at her. Some damage has been done already, and perhaps we have something we can work on.
It's like, I suppose for now on that one, you're correct. Okay. We'll close it back up, but we're gonna need to keep a very, very, very close eye on her. No pun intended.
The doctor looks at the commander. The commander is, she has a rather upset, she has an upset look, though she's trying to maintain her composure. And she's gonna walk into the tent and gauge you, Mordecai, look you up and down, Selene, and she is going to lean over Seltur and examine her very closely as she's laying there. Such a noble and fascinating woman. She's very, very dangerous. She looks at you, Mordecai. Looks at you, Selene. When she wakes, I probably won't be here, as I'll be aboard the ship and you'll be here on the ground. But I want you to tell her that if she wanted to earn my respect, then she has my respect for what she's done. Fascinating. She looks at you two, gives you a nod. Come to the ship. And the doctor is down with you, but she takes her caster and some of the other troops back over to the ship, which is starting to ascend once more.
Is there any way that we can wake her up?
Yeah, yeah, you'll be able to, but I'm gonna have to end the session for the night, just due to time constraints. Not out of a personal lack of not wanting to see what's gonna happen next, but I'm gonna have to start winding some stuff down.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair enough, considering it is very late over there. Yes.
It is.
It is
One
almost
thing that
5
I
a.m.
will note just before the session ends is Selene will patch her up, but Selene will also mark on Seltur's outside around them, like around the cyst, specifically around the cyst, so that she can point out and do non-invasive stuff. As in, like, yeah, no, there's an eyeball in here, and this is where it is, kind of deal.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Because you made a really good incision, I mean, it'll seal back up and be, nigh viewable. So she, it was a very clean cut, and that'll heal pretty well. Taking a chunk of skin's going to be another matter, but yeah, you can I don't get some chalk or something and kind of make a little mark, a temporary mark for right now as you sit and think this over. So yeah, I'm sorry to have to force an end here, but I have to end as soon as it is almost 5 a.m. for me.
No, that is more than fair enough.
But I very much appreciate the session from both parties, two parties as one, and I guess we'll see you next Tuesday, huh? Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. See you guys next Tuesday.
Excellent games.
Very good.
Yes.
Very, very good.
I am.
Well, so Peru, Black Wolf, Pneumonica, and others. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's session, and thank you for staying through, especially because it was an extended one. Let's go find someone. Because normally we'd stick around and play some party games or whatever, but I'm gonna have to get to bed here soon. Let's find someone to go say hi to and raid, and give them some energy here.
I'm gonna try and get 3 hours of sleep.
Oh,
Oof, good luck.
my goodness.
Flash me jumps over a fence.
Meanwhile, I have several hours of work ahead of me.
Yes. And
Oof.
you have a cold. Poor thing.
Let's go raid Technotron. He is currently broadcasting, and he's an awesome dude to hang out with. Good sense of humor, very creative guy. Definitely a friend of the channel here. And I will see you all on Discord whenever, and we'll be back tomorrow with the start of a new workshop week here.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah!
Night, everybody.
It continues on. Yeah, have a good night.
Good night, guys.